Hi, I'm Ella, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about what I've learned in this course. Human-centered AI, or HCAI, represents a transformative shift in the way we think about artificial intelligence. Instead of solely focusing on creating autonomous systems, HCAI emphasizes designing technologies that enhance human capabilities, empowers users, and prioritize human values like self-efficiency, creativity, responsibility, and dignity. The goal is to create systems that balance high level of automation with meaningful human control, ensuring that technology serves as a super tool rather than a replacement for human agency. One aspect that I found interesting is how HCAI reframes AI's role in society. Instead of positioning AI as a replacement for human intelligence, it envisions AI as a tool that amplifies human abilities. For instance, the book describes how navigation apps or digital cameras integrate automation to assist users while still leaving them in control. This approach resonates deeply as it contrasts starkly with the traditional narratives of AI overtaking human roles. Another interesting aspect of the emphasis is the emphasis on supertools and telebots rather than the anthropomorphic robots often depicted in media. The focus is not only grounded in discussions in practical applications, but also steers the conversation towards innovation that genuinely support human goals. What surprised me the most is the field's acknowledgement of human emotion and social context. For instance, the text critiques the idea of emotional AI or robots mimicking human behavior. Instead, it underscores the complexity of human emotions and how oversimplifying them into algorithms could mislead or harm. This nuanced approach is a refreshing departure from the oversold premise of emotionally intelligent machines. Additionally, the reliance on design metaphors such as intelligent agents versus supertools and teammates versus telebots provides a novel way to rethink AI's role in different domains. These metaphors help clarify the choices designers face when balancing automation and human control. So where's the field heading? Well, the HCAI domain is steadily moving towards integrating ethical and human-centered practices into the design and governance of AI systems. As AI becomes more pervasive in fields like healthcare, transportation, and education, the focus will likely shift towards creating systems that not only perform well, but are also reliable, safe, and trustworthy. Concepts like HCAI framework and governance structures, such as audit trails, safety-first designs, and certification by independent oversight, will play an increasingly vital role. We're also seeing a push to make technology more explainable and accessible to users, ensuring transparency and reducing cognitive overload. This aligns with the idea of amplifying human capabilities rather than overwhelming users with complexity. The challenges in these fields are significant. One immediate hurdle is bringing the gap between ethical principles and their practical implementation. For example, while concepts like transparency and fairness are widely endorsed, building systems that embody these values remain complex. Another ongoing challenge is mitigating bias in AI systems and ensuring that they respect human rights and social justice. Looking forward, the field must address the unintended consequences of automation. The balance between high levels of automation and meaningful human control is delicate, especially in critical domains like healthcare and autonomous vehicles. Trustworthiness and safety culture will need constant reinforcement. To contribute effectively to the HCAI domain, a multidisciplinary knowledge base is crucial. Understanding user experience design, ethics, psychology, and software engineering are key. Familiarity with concepts like explainability, transparency, and bias testing is essential. Additionally, staying informed about governance structures and compliance regulations will help practitioners align their designs with societal expectations. So has my perception changed? Yes. My perception of the HCAI domain has evolved significantly. Initially, I viewed AI primarily through the lens of technical advancements, autonomy, efficiency, and performance. However, after delving into the principle of HCAI, I've come to appreciate the human-centric philosophy that prioritizes user empowerment and social benefits. This shift from an algorithm-centered view to a user-centered perspective is both inspiring and necessary in today's world. And Conclusion, human-centered AI is not just a framework or a set of principles, it's a call to action. It challenges us to rethink AI's purposes and reimagine its role in our lives. The future of HCI is bright, but it requires ongoing effort, creativity, and collaboration to address its challenges and unlock its full potential. As we move forward, one thing is clear. The success of AI will not be measured by its autonomy, but by its ability to serve and uplift humanity. And then I will be speaking a little bit about the project that we did. We did an app called Lasting Connections that is focused on connecting humans through slow tech and not encouraging them to use the app as to use the app as little as possible and to actually meet up with these people in real life. And that's where we started. And for this project, I worked in the Figma alongside with Otelia, and I did the initial design, first draft of the app, as well as developing it further to the finished Figma. We focused a lot on the app's looks and functionality. We brainstormed ideas, figuring out what would make sense to include. And we did that, not just me and Otelia, but the whole team, even though we had the final says in this, so to speak. I also wrote the walkthrough of the app and how you should use it, and this helped us explain the structure of everything a lot better and understanding of it. And on top of that, I gave programming a try. I was using Python and ChatGPT's API to build a chatbot, and even though that didn't work, I still started that process, and it was my first real dive into that, and I'm not an expert, but it was a fun experiment to see if it could work with our app. And then Bia worked on it later on. And what worked well in our group is that the collaboration was awesome. Everyone was super flexible, and I really appreciated that, especially since I was juggling work at the same trying to make everything work. And it didn't feel like anyone was slacking. We all had things to do, and the workload, I would say, was pretty evenly shared. We bounced ideas off of each other really well, and it felt like everybody brought something valuable to the table. And once again, I would like to say thank you to my team for being so understanding with my work hours and the fact that I had a little bit of a different approach to this than everybody else, since I had more limited time to do it. So we both worked online, we did work in person, and we did work separately, which worked, I believe, really well for our group. Some things that didn't work as well was we did spend too much time on the small stuff, both early on, but also later on, like debating which clock icon to use or making sure that everything was perfectly aligned in the design, which is of course important, but that is later step. We also had debates and Googling about, is this the app we should do? Should we do something else? As well as what words should we use? What words are we allowed to use? So that could probably have been more efficient if one person did that instead of the whole group. But you live and you learn. And while those things are important, they weren't the most critical at that stage. Also, we couldn't make a working prototype of the app outside of Figma, and that was a little bit disappointing. And well, the chatbot worked, but having a full app as a prototype would have been really cool, and it would have brought the project to another level. And that kind of leads me into what I would have done differently. And if I could do it again, I'd probably focus on making a more functional prototype, even though that was not the main goal of the project. It was still it would have been really cool to be able to do that. And even if it wasn't perfect, just having something that people could actually use and interact with outside of the Figma, because we did get Figma to work, it would have been really satisfying. I'd also want to bring in external testers earlier in the process, and even in the process at all, to get a fresh perspectives and see what everybody would say. And it's easy to get caught up in your own ideas, so having new eyes on a project would have been helpful. And I learned a lot during this project, and one thing that really surprised me was realizing that phrases and words can be copyrighted. And that's not something I'd thought about before, and it shows how many little things you have to consider when you're designing something new. What also surprised me was how many of our ideas were already taken. And it also, once again, shows how much you have to think about finding a new product and building a new product, and how many creative people there are out there, which is very, very, very fun and interesting, but also a little bit frustrating, and shows how creative you have to be if you actually want to get something out there. And overall, this was a really great experience, and I'd happily work with the same group again. I believe we worked well together, and everybody contributed, which made the project fun and rewarding. And with the lessons we've learned, I think we would do an even better job next time, and maybe finally build that fully functioning app. And that's it for me. Thank you.